Thank you, Cesar. Let's give a big UU welcome to Cesar Castro. Thank you. You'll be seeing him on occasion as our music person. So good afternoon. Good afternoon. Okay. So, and welcome to the Lake Chapala Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. We're glad you're here. I'm Devorah Kelley, and I'm today's service associate for this flower communion. Reverend Matt will be presenting our main message today, and we welcome all of you to this special service, especially those of you that might be looking for a spiritual home. May the beauty of today's service gladden your heart. So we're about to enter sacred space. We're entering sacred space that's made possible by your presence. So in light of that, would you please take a moment to silence your phone, which is what I was trying to do when I dropped the mic. So our opening words this afternoon are by Thomas Rhodes. All of us are beautiful. We come in a variety of colors, shapes, and sizes. Some of us grow in bunches. Some of us grow alone. Some of us are cupped inward, and some of us spread ourselves out wide. Some of us are old and dried and tougher than we appear. I'm not sure I like that dried part. But some of us are still in the bud. Some of us grow low to the ground. And some of us stretch towards the sun. Some of us feel like weeds, sometimes. Some of us carry seeds, sometimes. Some of us are prickly, sometimes. Some of us smell lovely, and all of us are beautiful. What a bouquet of people we are. Look around this room. This is a bouquet of people in our fellowship, and it gladdens my heart to see all of you. So if you're new today and you would like to receive the newsletter and other emails from us, please talk to a member of the welcome team. Would the members of the welcome team that are here please stand up? Excellent, thank you. And I want to take a moment to extend a warm welcome to anyone who's visiting us today, whether it's for the first time or whether you're coming back after a long absence and reconnecting with us. As we pass the mic, I invite you to say your name and tell us briefly where you're from. If you're on Zoom, please introduce yourself in the chat box and it will be read aloud in the fellowship. We'll start with the people here in the room. And I guess I'm the designated person. June, you have a microphone. Would you be the passer? Excellent. So if you're new today or visiting, raise your hand and June will bring you the mic.
Hello.
Hi there. I'm Brendan Kelley. We're visiting from Swansea, New Hampshire. Devorah is my mom, so hi. And there's my son, Owen, and wife, Erin.
Welcome.
Yes, welcome. Anybody else?
Do we have anybody on Zoom who's visiting today?
No one's on Zoom.
Okay. Well, here at LCUUF, we offer a wide variety of services on a variety of topics presented by our members, outside guests, as well as our Reverend Matt Alspaugh. And we hope that if you are visiting today, you could return to sample this variety of thought and belief. So our chalice lighting words today are by Amy Zucker Morgenstern. It's called Within the Heart of the Flower. And June, can I ask you to light the chalice? Within the heart of the flower, the fountain of beauty. Within the heart of the community, a fire that warms and dances. Within the heart of each of us, a spark of the spirit of life. Holy, holy, holy. Now that we've lit our chalice, let's sing the words together that will be on the monitor.
Rekindle this light in celebration for the life that we share.
Excellent. So each week we come together to lament with each other, to celebrate with each other, and to care for one another in our community. Love is not only at the center of our UU values, it is also the opening that invites us to lament, celebrate, and care as we briefly share our personal joys, sorrows, and our milestones. Because there's power when we share, when we hold each other in community with our sharing. And just a sentence or two is enough, and we'll start again with the folks in the room and give those on Zoom a chance to write their joys and sorrows into the chat to be read aloud. Pass the mic. Sorry, we planned everything except for who was going to do the walk around.
Okay.
Okay. So if you have a joy or a sorrow or a
Hi, Flo.
milestone, raise your hand.
Hi, my name is Flo, and I have both joy and sorrow. I'm always joyful to be here. My sorrow is for those in Texas and the tragedy of the losses that they're experiencing. Good afternoon. My name is Ellie Contreras. I have quite a few joys. I just came back from 1 month in Canada, and Ramiro is so happy today. So if you hear him whistling too much or making, June thought that he's been drinking mimosas this morning, but he's very happy that I'm back. I have one more joy, sorry. Many of you may remember the performance that we had with the people with early onset dementia in April, and it was very popular, and we had a request to have it done again. So next Sunday, it'll be done at Open Circle at LCS, and if you do plan on attending, you'll just have just enough time left to come back in here. So I do have some postcards, and it's by the same people, minus one, because we don't have the technology there that we have here. But it was quite an inspiring performance. Yeah.
How many of you were there for that performance? Yeah, it was amazing.
Okay.
Any other joys or sorrows?
Joys or sorrows?
Well, oh, there's one in the back. 2 more.
Good morning. My name is Mia, and I want to make a tribute to a friend that I lost this week. He was from Canada. He was very lonely, lost his wife, and died very suddenly. So I want to name Eli and just tell him that I miss him.
Thank you, Mia.
Okay. Who is back here?
Mine is a sorrow. I'm Kate. And it was for the vote that happened this past week that kind of put a damper on all the 4th of July celebrations. Well, enough said.
Anybody?
And I, of course, have a joy because I have my family here for 10 days. I've had Owen for a week already, and my heart is full because I love my kids. So that's my joy. Are there any joys or sorrows or milestones on Zoom?
I need a light there.
Yeah.
Yes. The care team asks everyone to keep Alona in your thoughts. Alona has received a pacemaker and is waiting for her cardiologist to prescribe the next steps. We miss you, Alona. Get well soon. A joy from Terry Rawson. You're all here today. That's a joy. And his sorrow is the big, ugly bill that just passed that will cause so much harm. And Joan Franklin has a joy that David and she completed our stressful move to a new apartment and are thrilled with the new place. And that's it.
Thank you, Pam. And this care candle from our care team, we like to represent the joys and sorrows that were spoken and witnessed here today, as well as those that we hold in the silent sanctuary of our heart. So let us share a moment of silence. So as we know, the work of this fellowship within these walls and beyond takes our time, our talent, and our treasure. So the offering we take each Sunday is an opportunity to recommit to this place and to these people. It is much a ritual as lighting our chalice. As UU minister Victoria Weinstein, also known as Peace Bang, and I've been following her for a while, reminds us, as we pass the basket during our service, we're making a community expression of thanks for the blessings of abundance. Our offering says that the act of giving is as essential to our spiritual well-being as anything else we do on Sunday morning. It's a reminder of that form of love we call generosity. It's how we show that we believe it is important to worship together, to help our community, and to say yes to the values of our faith. As we pass the baskets, if you're new here today or you're struggling to hold things together, let the basket pass you by. Your presence is a gift to us. And as we pass the baskets, please know that we give the money collected at each service to an organization providing services to our Lakeside community. This month, we'll be donating to Niñas Sabias, Wise Girls, a mentoring program for Lakeside girls, and the description is on the monitor. Just some quiet. So the morning offering has now been given and received in the spirit of grateful fellowship. May it sustain and grow the life and work of our congregation. So our opening hymn is one by Norbert Chapek, who you'll hear more about. It was written by him, and while he did not live to see the fullness of modern Unitarian Universalism, his prescient lyrics speak deeply of those questions we wrestle with today. Please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing. And Cesar will play through the one verse so you get the tune.
Our first reading is from a summary of the Flowers Communion by Reginald Zottoli for the Unitarian Universalist Association of the USA. The Unitarian Universalist Flower Communion service, which we are about to celebrate, originated in 1923 by Dr. Norbert Chapek, founder of the modern Unitarian movement in Czechoslovakia. On the last Sunday before the summer recess of the Unitarian Church in Prague, all of the children and adults participate in this colorful ritual, which gives concrete expression to the human affirming principles of our liberal faith. When the Nazis took control of Prague in 1940, they found Dr. Čapek's gospel of the inherent worth and beauty of every human person to be, as Nazi court records, too dangerous. I'm missing some lines. Can we be smoother? Too dangerous to the right for him to be allowed to live. Dr. Čapek was sent to Dachau, where he was murdered by gas the next year. This gentle man suffered a cruel death, but his message of human hope and decency lives on through this flower communion, which is widely celebrated today. It is a noble and meaning-filled ritual we are about to recreate. This service includes the original prayers of Dr. Čapek to help us remember the principles and dreams for which he died. The evolution of my social concern, excuse me, it's jumping like crazy.
And our second reading is The Evolution of My Social Concern by James Luther Adams. Pam? Adams was a Unitarian minister and theology professor at Harvard University. He traveled to Germany in the 1930s, where he observed the rise of Nazi power there. He said, "The German universities, supposedly independent entities, have been fairly easily Nazified." It's a strange word. Hitler has also liquidated the trade unions. The Masons were forbidden to hold meetings. Repeatedly, I heard anti-Nazis say, if only 1,000 of us in the late 20s had combined in heroic resistance, we could have stopped Hitler. I noticed the stubborn resistance of the Jehovah's Witnesses. I observed also the lack of religious pluralism in a country that had no significant nonconformist movement in the Christian churches. Gradually, I came to the conviction that a decisive institution of the viable democratic society is the voluntary association as a medium for the assumption of civic responsibility.
Good afternoon. It's good to be here. It's good to be back. It's good to be speaking to you in actual physical form. Part of my travels north were to attend the annual Unitarian Universalist Ministers Association, or UUMA, meeting in Baltimore this year. Almost 500 Unitarian Universalist ministers attended. It was a chance to catch up with old friends, to get a feel of what's important in the UU movement in the United States right now, and to get some personal help on issues in ministry. It was a completely worthwhile trip. And I've said this before, and it's true. I'm delighted that we share space with the Anglicans. We're different in many ways from them and similar in others. I was talking with Reverend Sarah the other day, and the topic of sermon length came up. Her sermons are shorter than mine because their services are so full of ritual. We, on the other hand, have fairly few rituals week to week. Yeah, we do light a chalice, we do light a care candle, but not like they do. And we also have very few special celebratory rituals. Flower communion is one of those. It's an annual ritual for us, which we here in Mexico tend to hold near the beginning of the rainy season when flowers are more abundant. On its surface, flower communion is about beauty, about the beauty of nature. But there are deeper meanings, important messages attached to this ritual. For one thing, it is a ritual about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Yes, for the flower communion, as Norbert Chapek designed it, honored the diversity of all of us, noting that we are each different, like the different flowers. And the real beauty comes in the inclusion of all of this variety of colors and forms in the bouquet. When we celebrate flower communion, we always remind ourselves of the importance of this message about diversity, equity, and inclusion. But there are even deeper meanings to this simple ceremony. As we learned from the first reading, Chapek created the flower communion in 1923 at his church in Prague, Czechoslovakia. But the ceremony took a different significance when Chapek was murdered by the Nazis at Dachau death camp. The Nazis had arrested Chapek because he resisted. He spoke out against Hitler and Nazism and spoke for Unitarian values. So the ritual calls us to remember the courage of this Unitarian martyr and to reflect on what we are willing to do in support of our ideals. How far are we willing to go? These are hard questions, and there is no one answer for everyone. And further, there are questions that we have to contend with not just individually, but in our groups and associations. To what extent do we want the associations we belong to speak out, to stand up for what we hold dear? To what extent do we want organizations to do the hard things that we may not individually be able to do? In exploring these deeper meanings of the ritual, I want to reflect on the observations of James Luther Adams. Adams was a Unitarian minister and theologian, teaching at Harvard during the middle part of the 20th century. He's considered to be, by many, to be our greatest theologian, in large part due to his work studying Nazism in Germany in the 1930s. JLA, as he was called, visited Germany in the mid-1930s and spoke with many notable religious figures, some of whom were involved in the underground resistance to Nazism. JLA returned home and reflected on what happened to allow Nazism to rise in Germany. Certainly, once they were in power, the Nazis shut down a great many organizations that might have opposed him. As UU minister Daniel Harper tells it, and I quote, "One of the first things the Nazis did when they got into power was to take control of voluntary associations. The Nazis abolished many groups, from the trade unions to the Masons. They got rid of many youth movements, such as Scouting, that were already in existence, and instead imposed their own Nazi youth movements. They took over the churches and ran the churches as part of the Nazi state." End quote. But before the Nazis were in control, there was a window of time. Was there a window of time when they might have been stopped? JLA said himself, "Repeatedly, I heard anti-Nazis say, if only 1,000 of us in the late 20s had combined in heroic resistance, we could have stopped Hitler." End quote. Who might those anti-Nazis have been? Well, generally, they weren't the churches. Now, yes, there were a few theologians and a few small church denominations, such as the Jehovah's Witnesses, who opposed the Nazis. But the large German Protestant and Catholic churches were largely complacent and uncritical of Nazi ideas. Many were even supportive of Nazism. JLA was particularly critical of what was called Deutsche Christen, German Christianity, which was a pro-Nazi movement within many churches. In essence, these churches made a deal with the devil, that is, with Hitler, hoping to enhance their power in Germany. Upon returning to the USA, JLA developed a theology around what he called voluntary associations. These are organizations that people freely create and join. Such organizations stand separate from government control, and they are ideologically independent. The best of these voluntary associations encourage their members to make social change. In particular, they can resist totalitarianism. I should say there are other voluntary associations. I'll mention that later. JLA felt that congregations, that churches as voluntary associations had a special role because they encouraged their members to aspire to make a better society. I mean, book groups and hiking clubs are important, but congregations have a special role. All of these are voluntary associations. So where does this congregation, LCUUF, fit in? This question's been on my mind recently. A person, not a member of this congregation, was at our shared coffee hour when he was handed a flyer for the No Kings rally some few weeks ago. And he found this offensive. He asserted that as a religious association, we UUs should not be political. Now, I have encountered people holding this point of view at various UU congregations in the past, and I beg to differ. We should be the kind of organization that does involve itself in politics because politics is social justice work. And that work is part of our core, the DNA of the UU movement. But let me break this down because it has to be nuanced. Especially here in Mexico, we have to be nuanced. We can be political in that we can take stands on issues without being partisan, without promoting individual candidates or slates of candidates. And as UUs, we've had a long history of being involved in issues, supporting positions that align with our values and opposing those that don't. Further, and note this, once a person is elected, they are no longer a partisan candidate. They are a public servant, and we can respond to their words, their actions, and even their fitness to govern. I can refer you to an excellent, although USA-centric, guide on UU political involvement called The Real Rules from the Unitarian Universalist Association. You can find it online if you want more detail. But there is special nuance for us here in Mexico. I mean, this congregation is a mix of citizens from the USA, Canada, Mexico, countries in Europe. We should not assume that issues of interest to folks in one country will be of interest to others. This has been a guiding principle for me as I choose what to talk about on Sunday mornings. Is there something in my message for everyone? Can I expand a narrow political topic into something larger, tied more deeply to our values and principles? And further, as migrants to Mexico, which most of us are, we are obliged to be aware of our rights and obligations in Mexico. You may have seen a Viewpoint article in last week's Guadalajara Reporter called "Can Foreigners Protest in Mexico?" And that piece aligned with what I've learned from my own research. As foreigners, yes, we can speak out on issues in our own countries. This freedom is guaranteed by the Mexican Constitution. What foreigners cannot do is intervene in Mexican internal affairs. As we consider issue advocacy, we need to be sensitive also that not everyone may agree with us on all issues or even values. I mean, this is the nature of our plurality, our diversity. This is our welcome. However, we don't have to all be in complete agreement for the congregation or for groups in the congregation. And I'm thinking about the social action team as a possibility, but not just them, to act, to be involved, even to protest. So let's not assume that everyone here is in perfect agreement on issues. It's not helpful to say, we all agree on issue X, or even, we all must do action Y. That might shut out people with sincere doubts or differing views, people with differing interests and abilities. And especially now, where we're in a shared space with our Anglican community, we need to be particularly cognizant of the broader diversity of viewpoints, both political and theological, when we're all together in coffee hour or in the garden, for example. So we need to be respectful of this diversity, even when we individually may have differences. And finally, we need to remember that this congregation, while it is at times political, cannot be all politics all the time. I mean, we're not some unnamed political party. And the overwhelming part of what we're about in this congregation is attending to our spiritual and moral development. It's creating community. It's caring for one another. And and it is out of that work that our desire to create a better world emerges. And out of that desire emerges our desire to act, to witness, to protest. In short, to be political in a political world. So I hope that you take from this little message today this idea that the flower communion is not merely some sweet, cute little ritual devoid of meaning or moral valence. On the contrary, the flowers speak to us in this celebration of communion, of being together. They speak of the beauty of diversity, of our core equality, of our willingness to include everyone. They speak of a story of courage and martyrdom in the very creator of this ritual. They speak to freedom and resistance to tyranny. And they speak to our call to be in the world, not apart from the world, doing what we can, getting our hands into the mess of it, into politics even, if that makes the world a better place. May it be so. Thank you.
Today's reading is For the Flowers Have the Gift of Language by Richard Gilbert.
Speak, flowers, speak. Why do you say nothing? The flowers have the gift of language. In the meadow, they speak of freedom, creating patterns wild and free as no gardener can match. In the forest, they nestle, snug carpets under the roof of leaf and branches, making a rug of such softness. At the end tip of branches, they cling briefly before bursting into fruit sweet to taste.
Flowers, can you not speak joy to our sadness and hope to our fear? Can you not say how it is with you, that you color the darkest corner?
The flowers have the gift of language. At the occasion of birth, They are buds. Before bursting at the ceremony of love, they unite two lovers in beauty. At the occasion of death, they remind us how lovely is life.
Oh, would that you had voice, silent messengers of hope. Would that you could tell us how you feel, arrayed in such beauty.
The flowers have the gift of language. In the dark depths of a death camp, they speak the light of life. In the face of cruelty, they speak of courage. In the experience of ugliness, they bespeak the persistence of beauty.
Speak, flowers, speak, for we would hear your message. Speak, messengers, speak, for we need to hear what you would say.
For the flowers have the gift of language. They transport the human voice on winds of beauty. They lift the melody of song to our ears. They paint through the eye and hand of the artist. Their fragrance binds us to sweet-smelling earth.
May the blessing of the flowers be upon you. May their beauty beckon to you each morning, and their loveliness lure you each day, and their tenderness caress you each night. May their delicate petals make you gentle, and their eyes make you aware. May their stems make you sturdy, and their reaching make you care.
Many of you have brought flowers from your gardens, from the fields, from the side of the road, from the floweria, and left them in the vases by the door.
So I just want to note that even if you did not bring a flower today, that's fine. You're still totally invited to come forward. Could we have the ushers bring the flowers forward? No, they're coming down.
We will now bless these flowers using the blessing that Norbert Chopik wrote for this service. Infinite Spirit of life, we ask thy blessing on these thy messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us, amid diversities of knowledge and of gifts, to be one in desire and affection and devotion to thy holy will. May they also remind us of the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendship as one of thy most precious gifts. May we not let awareness of another's talents discourage us or sully our relationship, but may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do thy work in the world.
So here's what we're going to do, and I would ask Michael and Lamar to come help us with this part. You're going to come forward row by row and come into the center, come up, pick a flower, and then exit by the side. In the middle, guys. So as I said, even if you didn't bring one, please come up and take one.
You could just help them.
Just, you're going to go row by row.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
People up. No, you're just going to go row by row and then take them to
We each now have a flower to take with us. It is a token of our uniqueness, our diversity. It is a reminder that the most beautiful bouquets are made of a variety of blooms, all included. Our flowers are beautiful as they are. They remind us of the courage of many who have gone before us, who took up the task of creating a better world for all of us. We are reminded of our role in the work as well, work that is never done. Blessed be.
So our closing hymn is appropriately For the Beauty of the Earth. Please rise in body or in spirit and join us. And again, Cesar will play through one verse.
Shortly before he was murdered at Dachau, Dr. Chapek wrote these words, reflecting on his own life and the state of his spirit. It is worthwhile to live and fight courageously for sacred ideals. Oh, blow ye evil winds into my body's fire, my soul you'll never unravel. Even though disappointed 1,000 times or fallen in the fight and everything would worthless seem, I have lived amidst eternity. Be grateful, my soul. My life was worth living. He who pressed from all sides but remained victorious in spirit is welcomed into the choir of heroes. He who overcame the fetters, giving wing to the mind, is entering into the golden age of the victorious. May it be so. Go in peace.
Let us extinguish our chalice with these words which we read together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or fire of commitment, Cesar, thank you again for bringing your gift of music to us. So, our worship is over, but our service begins. Go in peace and with a purpose, and enjoy the flowers.
Those of you